Podcast City Network. The Everett Lee Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Everett Lee Show on this Wednesday night here on Podbeam Live. I'm the Everett Lee. Want to give a quick shout out to everyone that follows me on social media, Facebook, Everett Lee Show, Twitter, at the Everett Lee, Instagram, Everett Lee, YouTube, Everett Lee. And of course, Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself. Go ahead and follow them over on podcastcity.net. Hit them up on Facebook, Podcast City Network, Twitter, at Podcast City Net. And you can listen to portions of past and present audio podcast of the Everett Lee Show on the following platforms: on iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Amazon Music, and right here on Podbeam. And want to give a shout out to everyone on this May 4th. May the 4th be with you, Star Wars fans. So let's get into this conversation tonight with my guest. A few weeks ago, I was on his podcast and had a great time being a guest, being in the hot seat, and being interviewed by my guest tonight. So I wanted to return the favor and get him on the Everett Lee Show. And it's going to be a great episode. My guest tonight is none other than the owner of the IWEP Network. I want to welcome to the program tonight, Mr. Anthony Blackwell Jr.
What is going on, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. May the 4th be with you, man.
Yeah, you not only did you bring me on, but probably the least biggest Star Wars fan of all time on May the 4th, but I'm going to hopefully change that very soon with a spin-off podcast that we're doing in the near future, where I'm going to have a giant Star Wars fan, and we're going to chronologically watch every Star Wars movie, and he's going to break it down for me, and we're going to, like a small child, like The Office, when Michael Scott says, okay, explain this to me like I'm 10 years old, and we're going to go through the whole thing. So hopefully by the next time we talk, I will be fully versed in the Star Wars universe. But thank you so much for having me.
It's an honor, man. It's an honor. I definitely did have a good time on your podcast there, interviews with everyday people, and I've been tuning in here for a while. I think ever since I seen you on Deathmatch Russell podcast, when you were on there, that's when I found out about you, thanks to David C. Russell. And listening to the conversation you guys had was great. And I started tuning in. I started following and liking all the shows on IWEP Network. And I started following them. I started tuning in when you guys have live shows, because I enjoy the Not Cool in High School, because I love the pop culture discussions, which is
my wife is cheering in the background because that's the show she's on. So yeah, you guys got great chemistry on there. You do, and with your guest co-host that you have on there, you guys, it's one of my favorite ones because of everything you talk about, discuss, which I'm into, and the Tornado Tag podcast talking about wrestling. That is the only podcast that I have that is currently ranked. So I'm glad you enjoy that one.
I love it. I love just the different variety of what you do with your shows on your network, man. And I just one thing I never got to ask you, and I don't even think I've heard you mention this on any other podcast you've been on, but what made you start IWEP Network? What made you start that?
So the network essentially just became a place that I can just lump sum all of the podcasts I was doing into a place. And then it kind of like grew its own legs as an actual network by a few of my local friends who then started the podcast game. I'm not saying I'm the trendsetter, but there wasn't a lot of podcasts, especially in my local area, until I pulled the trigger on it. So, and a lot of people will come on the show. I would teach them a couple episodes on what equipment to get and how to do things and what to use. And then they went on to start their own podcast. So then it kind of turned into, all right, well, maybe we could put us all in one spot because if it made everything universally easy to find all the shows, we can help promote each other and get it out there. So that's kind of how the network came about. But yeah, so it just essentially came by just me doing, at one point in time, I think 7 different shows.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm down to 5. So I'd have cut ties with 2 shows. But yeah, I was up to 7 shows, and it was, and still working a 48-hour week job. I'm not getting paid to podcast as of yet. I don't want to say it'll never happen because that's bad juju, bad karma. My friend Kelly would yell at me for that. So I will say that yet I am not being paid as a podcaster, but that's the dream, right? That's what we're all doing for this for.
Oh yeah, it is. I don't know if I brought this up when I was on your podcast interviews with everyday people, but SiriusXM put a ad out there for a host for a podcast on their station, on their satellite radio. I applied for it and I got a response back. And
oh, nice.
Yeah. I was excited till I opened up the email. And
you have to pay them?
What?
You have to pay them?
No. No. It's when I opened up the message, the email, it basically said, thank you for applying, but however, you are not what we're looking for at this time. So I got the door shut on me. I was like, really?
It ain't over. Listen, I would love to be on Sirius XM, but at the end of the day, if I wanted to do radio, I would do radio. I think that's where the difference is between a podcast. Like, I love Busted Open, but Busted Open podcast is not a podcast. It just clips from a radio show. I guess you can say the same thing, and I love Busted Open. Dave LaGreca is fantastic. Somehow we are actual friends on Facebook, and he responds and comments on some of my stuff sometimes, and it blows me away because I've honestly never met the guy in person, but he's an inspiration. He's fantastic. So I nothing but respect there. But I guess I'm kind of in the same boat because I live stream. So people are like, well, are you a podcaster or are you a live streamer? And I think where I would say I'm still a podcaster is you can type me in on a podcast and you're going to still listen to a podcast. Like, even though it's a live stream, I still incorporate live stream elements to all of our shows, but I also still stick it so you're still feel like you're listening to a podcast, if that makes any sense.
It does. The way I look at when podcasters do live stream, it's another platform or tool or way to reach out to your audience. That's the way I look at it as.
Yeah, I think sometimes people live stream just to get it seen, but they don't respond to the chat. It's more or less, it's there as if you were listening to the podcast live, which is fine too. But I do I've always been into the responding and incorporating that. And it's not easy, especially if you're like a scripted podcast or you have all your notes and you're trying to get all your shit in. Wrestling terms, sorry if I don't know if we're allowed to curse. I apologize.
No filter. Go ahead.
All right. But I feel like that's where it stands out. And I don't know how your experience was being on interviews or Tornado Tag, but we are very fly by the seat of our pants. But I feel like if you listen back and you're an outside person listening in, we do seem like we're very structured, but the show is completely free form and there's as little prep as you can imagine on a podcast, but it still sounds like it's done well, I guess. I don't know, unless I'm just being naive because it's my show. But did you feel like listening to shows that you thought we were prepared, or did it seem like how did you take that?
When I first listened to Tornado Tag podcast and the opening, how everyone shared some stories and talked about little things, discussed a little bit about this or that going on in wrestling. And then when you got to like the one thing that you really wanted to stress and discuss with everyone like tuned in on it. And it pretty much, it flowed really good because I said to myself, I was like, man, Anthony has his shit together. This is great. And everyone just
appreciate that. I'm winging it.
Well, it shows that you got good people with you, good chemistry, because it's like almost like in wrestling. You got 2 people in the ring. The other one knows what the other one's going to do. It's like your podcast there, Tornado Tag Podcast. Everyone takes a cue and knows when to chime in and put their 2 cents in and then back out, and then it keeps going.
Yeah, that's definitely. Listen, I don't want to take all the credit for these shows in this network because I do have a fantastic team. I have very, very knowledgeable people. Like I said, I do a wrestling podcast, and I'm probably the least knowledgeable wrestling person on it. And that's not even a joke. Like, Brian is just an expert. Kelly has been watching so much different styles of wrestling that I didn't think existed. Andy is not only a pro wrestler, but he's been watching since he's a kid, and he had his mind open to so many different avenues of wrestling. Where I was someone who I would say I was like that pure fan where I believed everything that was put in front of me. I never read dirt sheets. I never got into that growing up. So I didn't know the behind the scenes things of a lot of stuff. And I'm kind of learning that now. And I think that's a good thing or advice I would give people if they're going to do podcasters on topics. It's okay to be vulnerable and let your audience know that you're not an expert. Like, it is okay that your show's premise is you are learning. Because that I've been very upfront about that for almost all of my shows. Like, I do a beer show. I don't know anything about beer. I just like drinking it. So
Who don't?
now I'm getting opportunities to go to breweries and meet really, really knowledgeable people in the business. And I'm a complete futz with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not smart. I'm not educated. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I can host. I can make a conversation. I can do all the things that need to do to make a podcast. But I lean heavily on my guests or the people around me who are more educated and let them do what they need to do by shining. And that's where I think, as a whole in this entire network, whether it's Truth Behind Illusion, Not Cool in High School, we all have our strengths. And I, if anything, I'm talented at is finding the right people to put in the right spots.
You are. You got a great team. You got a good set of friends, really good friends that you can trust that come in and they can fill that spot there on what you don't know. Because if that's your weakness, you got them right there to be your strength. And
Yes.
They may be weak in this area and you're there as their strength. So it works out.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I don't want to say exactly like names or anything, but there's a lot of people on our podcast who doing this podcast or any of the shows have been a huge step out of their comfort zone. And since doing this for a long time, they've found more confidence to be open and speaking. So I knew that their passion of what they wanted to talk about was there, and they know what they're talking about, and they are entertaining even though they don't believe they are. That's where I pick up the slack as the host and make them comfortable and throw those softballs so they can just speak on what they're passionate about. And if they're passionate about what they speak about, they're more open to join in on the conversation. Because if I brought someone in who's an extrovert, doesn't know how to talk, it gets nervous, gets scared. Sorry, introvert. I'm an extrovert. All right, at least I try to be. I try to force them into something they're not going to do, they're going to stay quiet. And I, honestly, as a host with some people on the podcast, I had to learn that as well. I've gone through different members and people have come and gone on the show, and I love every single person who has sat down and joined this network and been a part of it. But like I said, it is very difficult. And one of the biggest things here is the train keeps rolling. Like, if we say to our audience, we're recording every Thursday, 8:00, we better have a really good reason why we're not going to. And I tell people, like, I don't expect you to take the sacrifices I do, but if you can't make it, that's not a problem. But I'm going to keep recording. The button's going to get pushed, whether you know what I mean? Like, I'm all about that consistency.
Yeah.
Because we weren't very consistent for the first 3 years of the podcast, and we moved because of jobs and pandemics. Like, oh, the show used to be Tuesday, now it's this, now it's that. And I think it was very hard for an audience to dial in. And I think we're getting to that point now where they know, like, oh, it's Tuesday, I'm getting one of these two shows. It's Thursday night, Tornado Tag Podcast. Sunday, Banging Beers. Like, they're getting to that comfortability, and that means a lot to me.
Yeah, I wish I still had that set schedule, but with me working two jobs, one that the schedule just flips. I could be off this day and work that day. Like I was supposed to work tonight. I got scheduled to work tonight, and I switched with someone so I can pick up my daughter from school and bring her home. And so I could do this tonight because
I just say it's adorable for the daughter, but you called off work for me. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm joking. Listen, and this is something I haven't said on air, and I don't even know how I feel about even putting it out there. But like, part of it, man, like, dude, probably our biggest interview we ever had in the network was Thursday night, and I didn't go to a very, very close friend of the family's funeral services because I had one of my biggest interviews of all time. And I felt like a giant selfish piece of garbage. Like, full disclosure, man, podcast wrapped. I got really good compliments from the person we interviewed as well as the team. I was very excited. And then after everyone left, I went upstairs and I broke down because I felt like, and it was a moment for me doing this, because I know like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, get a job, don't do this. Being in a band or a podcast is stupid. There's no money there. But you don't tell bands who feel like they can do that you can't hear that, you know? Mm-hmm. So like when I went upstairs, I just said to myself, like, if you're going to make these sacrifices and miss these family events and time away from your friends and your family and your wife, like, this has to work. Like I'm just in that mindset that failure is not an option, and I'm going to grind until it isn't, you know? But, yeah, dude, I totally get it. Making sacrifices is not easy, and you're not less of an artist if you're not willing to do them. But also give respect to the ones who are willing to. You know what I mean? Like, listen, right. I get a job is important. I've been bouncing around trying to find the right jobs to suit my hours here. Like, I can go make more money, but I'm going to have to work a Saturday, and then I miss all my wrestling shows. If I don't go to wrestling shows, I don't get the opportunities like the big guests we had on the show last week. So it's just like, do I make a couple bucks less in my personal life and sacrifice not getting the brand new thing I want, or do I chase this dream of podcasting? And it's not an easy choice to figure out. And I'm fortunate enough to not have children, and fortunate enough to have a wife who is ride or die, who says like, yo, go do your thing. You know what I mean? And yeah, I can't, I'm not the only one making sacrifices, what I'm saying. And I can't allow this to not be a success at some point in time.
Right. Yeah. Like tonight, right before I got a hold of you, my phone went off, and I was in the other room, and I said to myself, is he video calling me right now? So I walked in here and looked, and it was my wife. And I answered it, and I had this look on my face. And when she seen the look on my face, the first thing she said was, oh yeah, you got a show tonight. I'm like, mm-hmm. And she said, oh, I forgot. I just wanted to, let you know. And we talked there for a minute and stuff. And then she said, I love you. Have a great show. And she jumped off, and it was a good little quick conversation there. And I've had her back in the past when I did ELS Uncut. I'd have her. I pulled her on a few times, and it was some great conversations that she got into and stuff. But she didn't want to be. She don't like being on camera, so I had her off camera. You can hear her, but you can't see her when I would have her on.
That's a fun gimmick, man. Yeah. People are like, who is it?
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat, man. I like I said, for almost 4 years of this, going into the fourth year is the first time I really pulled my wife in on it. Like, and I wanted her to be part of it, but once again, I can do it with complete strangers or my friends and drop their comfortability. But it was like, how can I do it with my wife, who doesn't want to be on camera? She don't like the sound of her own voice, hates everything, but she's very passionate about pop culture and horror movies and all that. So just recently she joined Not Cool in high school, and then we did our own little side project where it's just me and her, and we talk horror movies. And that's kind of the podcast has almost become our date night, because I just don't have time to go out on dates. So I get the evil stare, but yeah,
you're spending time together. You're spending time together, which is great. Yeah. And it's stuff that she's into and stuff. And watching Not Cool in high school, I think she's great. I think you guys got great chemistry together, man. You guys are great.
Wasn't bad for our first solo episode recently, the horror one. I thought it went really well.
Nice.
We actually just got the props. I can give you. People can't visually see this, but I just got the props.
Oh,
we're going to be doing Carrie next, so I got a double pack. It's the new Carrie and the original Carrie. And we're going to do a cool little thing where we're going to collect Funko Pops. Because remember how I told you, so I'll tell your audience. But we talked about on my podcast. One of the things I did to start this journey is I'm very inspired by Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith, to make Clerks, he sold all of his comic books and everything he truly, truly loved to front the money to get the camera equipment and everything he needed to spend, like, to get the money to make his first movie. And now he could probably go back and buy all those comics on top of it, because he was willing to let go of something he cared about to fund something else. So, sorry, I had the beer burps. So I sold all of my podcast, all of my pops and all of my collectible stuff to get like to start this project. So I lost a lot of my collectibles, and that means a lot to me because psychologically, I had a house fire as a kid, and I lost my entire childhood. So I think mentally, I have a hard time not letting go of a lot of my childhood because I never had a chance to physically let go. It was kind of like, oh, remember all your action figures and your wrestling buddies and all your wrestling childhood? Gone. It's all gone. You'll never get any of that back again. So I go to wrestling shows and I see action figures. I'm like, oh, I used to fucking own those. Like, what the heck? So long story short, we're going to start on the horror show. We're going to start collecting the pops or some type of pop culture or our DVD collection of whatever movie we're watching. So one of our first ones. I still have to order the Evil Dead one, but we got our Carrie pop. So that's going to be a kind of a thing where I can get back the things I sold for the podcast, but also do it in a way where we're both attached to it because they're like, oh, there's the Carrie pop. We did that episode. So it's a little fun thing for us to do. Yeah.
That's cool.
I hope I answered your original question because we went on a really crazy side tangent.
It's okay. It happens, man. It happens. It's a podcast, man. It happens. But you mentioned Kevin Smith. I'm a fan of Kevin Smith. Back in 1994, when I first heard about this movie called Clerks, I said to myself, I saw a advertisement for it on TV. And I said to myself, what the hell is this? And I was taken in by Jane Silent Bob. And then a year later, I got to see the movie and I loved it. I said to myself, I was like, this is cool. I watched it like a bunch of times. And then one night when I went to watch it, it was the director's cut with the original ending. And I was like, oh man, I just was marking out over this shit, man, because I just thought it was great. And then the first DVD I actually bought was Mallrats. When DVDs, when I got a PS2, I said to myself, I got a PS2. I can't remember the first game I bought for it, but I can tell you the first DVD because remember PS2s had the DVD player. I was like, I'm going to get a movie. So I was looking around. I looked at all these good movies I could have got. But the one thing that stuck out was Mallrats. And I still own that. I still own that DVD. But
you ever see the Clerks cartoon?
Yes.
Yeah, they're great.
I seen that stuff, man. I loved it. I loved it. And my wife's from New Jersey. And she lived right down the road from Red Bank from the, Jay and Silent Bob's.
Secret Stash.
Yeah. And we were supposed to go to it when we were up there and we never did go. And I said to my wife on our way coming back to Florida, I was like, we didn't go someplace I wanted to go. And she said, where? I said, Red Bank. She's like, oh, I'm sorry.
They have that and they have the Tell 'em Steve Dave store because Walt left the Secret Stash and now he has his own store.
No, he does.
Yeah.
Okay. I did watch.
Comic book was great. I don't know. I love Kevin, the fact that he, once again, another huge inspiration and like the reason like he did this and he's like, you know what? He made connections like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and all these huge actors, but he also said like, I'm going to stay true to my friends. Like I want to take my friends on this journey. And that's like I said, man, I love Kevin Smith.
Yeah, he did. He made those connections like with Chasing Amy, him and Ben Affleck. I think there's a story where they I forgot how many weeks or days they shot Chasing.
It started with Jersey Girl.
What?
Jersey Girl was how he first met Ben. Was it? Yep. I think I could be wrong. I think Jersey Girl was before Chasing Amy.
Actually, Jersey Girl came later on because
was it?
Yeah, Ben Affleck was in Chasing Amy.
Yeah, I know. I dedefinitely know he was in Chasing Amy. I love Chasing Amy, but I thought Jersey Girl was first.
No,
I'll submit you win.
Well, pull it up real quick. I see you got your phone there. Pull it up.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up real quick while you're talking.
Yeah, what the story I heard about with Chasing Amy was I forget how many weeks or days they did.
Chasing Amy was first. You're right. He was also in Mallrats, and that came first.
Yeah, Mallrats. Yeah. He was
wrong. Mallrats was first, so we both lose. If it was trivia, we both lose. Yeah, Jersey Girl was 2004.
Yeah, him and Ben Affleck. I think they spent time playing the what the hell was it? Sega Genesis, they were playing the ice hockey on Sega Genesis in between, filming that movie there, which I thought was pretty cool. And I liked how he had like Jason Lee in his movies there. And then,
Stanley.
Stan Lee. Yeah, definitely Stan Lee.
Could you imagine landing that? Like, you grew up and you're a giant comic book nerd and you make movies, and Stan Lee's like, I like you enough, I'll show up on your stuff. And you're like, what is life? And this is before like Marvel blows up. You know what I mean? Like, that's sick.
Yeah. What I liked about Mallrats is the one-liners in that, and just some of the shenanigans that went on and everything. You ever stink palm somebody? I did that once. Yes, I did. I did it to a back in the day. I was 18 years old, working my first retail job, and one of the guys there, one of the bosses, he actually, I did it twice. I first did it when I was 18. I did some chocolate pretzels. Yep. And he ate them, and he didn't come to work for a couple of days. I'll just say that. And then the second time I did it later on in life when I was in my late 20s, 30s. I was like, I'm going to stink palm this person. And I did it, but I did it without the chocolate pretzels, enough to where basically when he got his fingers in his mouth. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. He was gone for about 3 days. And he came back and he's like, it must have been something I ate. And he didn't realize, he got stink palmed.
Yeah. Joke's on you, bud.
I did that. It's funny just looking back at it there. But what I've been enjoying the most here this week since my wife's been on vacation? Spending time with my daughter. Me and her binge watched in the last few days all 5 Jurassic Park movies. She wanted to see them. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she wanted to see him. She liked the 4th one because of Blue. She liked Blue. She loved it. And I
didn't see, I know I did see it. I was going to say, I didn't see the last one.
Fallen Kingdom?
Now I remember I did. Yeah, when the island blows up because of volcano.
Yeah, she was. We just finished that one tonight. She was crying with the dinosaurs, and I said, "Don't worry, sweetie." I was holding her, and I said, "Don't worry." I said, "They saved a lot of dinosaurs," and she's like, "But they didn't go back to get that one." Yeah. I was just like, she was scared of that new raptor, man. She was, but she got all excited and happy when Blue came in and was kicking his ass, man.
Yeah, it's crazy because like it's so cool to take on. Like, I have a brother who's 11 years my younger, and I just remember like turning him on to movies that he obviously wasn't alive for, or even ones that someone turned on to me. So it's like, oh, this is this movie I really, really care about because someone who I cared about showed me it, and then you pass it on to somebody else. It's such a cool feeling with pop culture and cinema and video games to kind of be like, oh man, I used to play this game. You should try it, or you should watch this TV show, or you should check out this movie. It is really cool to open up someone else's eyes to a piece of content that they weren't even around for when it was made.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I, especially watching the first Jurassic Park, Anthony, the scene with the T-Rex and the guy in the toilet, she covered her eyes. Or actually, no, she didn't cover her eyes for that part. And she like screamed and jumped in my lap because of that. And then when my wife came, I guess she was in the other room and she ran in there. She said, "Mommy, that T-Rex ate that guy off the toilet," and just started laughing. But yeah. She got scared. She did get scared in the 4th one with the hybrid. She did really get scared of that one. And I think the hybrid raptor in the last one on Fallen Kingdom, that kind of really scared her a lot. But she loved Blue. She loves Blue. She thinks Blue is like the coolest, I was like, that's neat, man, because I'm going to have to try to get her for her birthday, get her a Blue action figure. I'm going to have
they're out there. You can definitely get them.
Yeah.
And the new movie's coming out. You'll be able to get it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been following that franchise since 93. I remember going to the theaters and seeing it when I was like 14, 13 when it first came out. And when just the T-Rex roar in the theater, man, it was crazy because the theater I went to see it at, I mean, it was loud hearing the T-Rex and seeing it on the big screen. But
pretty girl.
When
the hunter.
Yes. And then I went back to that same theater, and that same year they had the Dennis the Menace movie. So we were in there watching Dennis the Menace, and all of a sudden you can hear like this, noise next door, and people's looking, and someone said, "What's that?" And you can hear someone loud saying, "Oh, that's Jurassic Park." It was shaking the theater next door. That was like, wow, this is nuts. But I enjoyed the franchise. I enjoyed it because of just the storytelling of each one, the story evolved. But with the new one coming out, bringing in like the new cast and the old cast together, I mean, that's great. Having Dr.
That's the move now. The move is the scratch nostalgia. Everyone's trying to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars just did it. Bring the old with the new, and then officially pass that torch. I think Hollywood's starting to figure out that people will accept a franchise more is if the cast from the original one officially pass the torch to the new one. Then everyone's like, okay, now I like it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But when you just try to change everything right away, if you don't nail it, it's going to get crapped on.
Exactly. I thought Ghostbusters Afterlife did great with it. They did great. I love the story.
I cried like a baby in the theater for that.
Oh man, the story was so great. I know Harold Ramis, he passed away, so I know it was.
Fun fact: we booked that movie before it was anything was talked about it. So on Knoxville in high school, when they announced that there's going to be a new Ghostbusters movie, we essentially fan wrote the movie, and we were pretty close of how like it went down in real life.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. We were saying we would, because Harold's gone, we would do something where Harold's grandkids come and find his stuff, and then like there was some wacky things we put out there where like at his funeral. So we talked about that, but like there's some things we were completely wrong on. But the idea of like his grandkids would be the next generation, and having the old Ghostbusters there and them learning about it, like that's kind of we kind of nailed it. But spoiler alert, the CGI they did to put him back in the movie was that was something.
Yeah, that actually brought a tear to my eye right there. And my wife, she's sitting there watching it, and even my daughter, she loved it. She loved the car, and she loved, I guess, them chasing the Slimer ghost through the town, which I thought
I hope they legit bring back Slimer.
Yeah, I do too. I hope they do. And I just enjoyed like the nostalgia, like Scream 5. I watched that recently. Oh, I love the story to that because it was a good twist to the story. Did you ever see that?
I watched half of it and fell asleep. But I told my wife my prediction, and I was half right. So I had to go back and see the other half.
Dude, best death scene, the kitchen. I love that.
I did see that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting shot and lit. That's bad, man. That was cool how they did that. But I think what was like, to me, was like gruesome and just like, kind of like shocked me was when the deputy mom that was in the fourth one, they brought her back for the fifth one, when she was running straight to the house. And I didn't expect it. I should have expected it. But when Ghostface came out and just right there in the middle of daylight on the sidewalk, I was like, oh my God. It just made me chill for a minute, because just out of nowhere, I'm not, getting shanked right there in the middle of daylight and just.
Yeah. Yeah. Scream is probably, for me and my wife, we always say it's our favorite horror movie. That's our number one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, the second one, when the second one was about to come out, I think that's when like the internet was really starting to get out there at that time. And apparently the script got leaked, And a lot of people went to see it and a lot of people didn't because they found out who the killer was or killers. And they kind of kept it tight-lipped for the third one because they didn't want to make that same mistake, because they didn't want, who the, killer or killers were going to be in the third one. But that was one of the first ones I remember there, because I remember hearing about, the script got leaked online and everyone's looking at it and you could find it any place and people were reading it and were like, oh, really? Billy Loomis's mother? Oh, come on. Yeah. But I did talk about nostalgia. I did like how Skeet Ulrich did come back, for the fifth one, with the, pulling that character off again there. But I loved the effects, making him look like he was back in, 1997, which I think it's great what they can do with stuff like that in Hollywood there. For example, like in the Mandalorian, when they brought Luke in, it's Mark Hamill. It is, but they made him look like he did back in the, young Skywalker.
Yeah, it's pretty fun that they initially put it in and people were like, that looked terrible. And then some guy went on the internet and said, oh, I can do that, but I can make it look better. And he did it. And Disney was like, you're hired. And then he went in and redid their scene. And so when you now watch it on Disney Plus, it's that guy's technology. So essentially Disney hired him because he pretty much showed the internet that he can do it.
No way. I didn't know about that. That's pretty amazing, man. I like hearing stuff like that. It's like, well, you know what? Anything you do, I could do it better. And then it's like
when the 13-year-old hacked Sony and they gave him a job.
Exactly.
Crazy, right?
It is. It's crazy. It definitely is crazy times. Take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive more into the conversation right here. But first, there's a couple things I do want to mention. Keep up with the latest shows and content from Podcast City Network over on podcastcity.net. Follow them on facebook.com/Podcast City Network, Twitter @PodcastCityNet. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Podcast City Network, and on Twitch, Podcast City Network. Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself. Whether it's a sticker for your car, a t-shirt for that special someone, or a neck garter to keep safe during COVID-19, Podcast City Network has you covered. Grab the latest PCN gear today at podcastcity.net/shop to show your support for your favorite show or shows from Podcast City Network today. Want to start a podcast? Trying to grow your current show? Podcast City Network is here to help. We currently offer services for social media advertising, marketing, live stream hosting, custom logo design and branding, transcript services, custom intro and outro videos, audio video editing, press kits, one-on-one consultings, and much more. So don't wait. Contact us today. podcastcity.net/services. Head over to the website, fill out the form, get in contact with Podcast City Network. Have you ever wanted to start a podcast but didn't know how? Do you already have a podcast but you don't know how to grow it? Are you trying to find ways to make your podcast profitable? You can learn how to do it here at Podcast City Network. We offer consultant services, tutorial classes to help with learning to better expand your knowledge to grow your show. We also give access to our network of shows to help with cross-promotions, guests, and overall reach while becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. The best part is no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Fill out the contact form below right here over on podcastcity.net/join now and sign up today. Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
You kind of joked about earlier about paying, it kind of remind me of like, when I was talking about Sirius XM, you're talking about like you have to pay them. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you've been seeing on Facebook on the feed, all these like companies, like there's a couple companies on there talking about these podcast awards where, put your name in the hat by this deadline. So we want to, recognize the best in, quality or some kind of crazy catch line, tagline for podcasting. So I think like single awards, and there's like this other one now doing the same damn thing. When you click on there and you click on one of the things, they're like single awards are asking $585 for to get your name into a directory and to get your name thrown in the hat.
Yeah. And then it's still going to come down to a popularity contest, because what they want you to do is tell all of your friends to go to their website and vote, which then gets all of your audience into their website. And then your audience votes for your show, because realistically, and most audiences are like, if your audience says, hey, this guy's super interesting, I want to go listen to his podcast. Honestly, the likelihood that happens is not very high, because people are in their comfort zone. They chose this for a reason, and a lot of people don't move over. It is good for diehard podcast listeners, but you have to think now in this podcast game, everyone has like their 6 shows they listen to, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to get that new listener to maybe stop listening to something they listen to then jump over to your show. And if anyone does, thank you. I appreciate it. And if anyone from my audience jumped over to yours, that's sick. But the likelihood of it is very, very small, especially because, like I said, people are in their comfort zone. And if they don't have a hyperlink that says like Beetlejuice, click here, click here, click here, they normally don't. But it's just a money grabbing scheme. Like if I get recognized to be a good podcast, it's because like someone who has a legit reputable website went out of their way, listened to it, and said, oh, they're good, and gave me a plug, rather than me having to go fill out a form for you to go listen to me. That happened for us on Bangin' Beers, where there's a beer community from Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's not close, man. It's like a 3-4 hour drive from me, and they because they're a beer website, they went and listened, and they have their own podcast too. But they went and listened to like the top like a bunch of podcasts from this area in Pennsylvania, and they just doing their research and doing what a reputable website should do. And they listened to us, and they gave us a really nice write-up and a really nice review, and it got us a lot of new listeners. And I think that has more impact than those grab things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think a lot of that is just like, and it sucks because like people who do podcasts and they put a lot of effort in, like people like us, we get to the point where we get desperate, and then we get preyed on by people like that, and it really annoys me. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a scummy thing to do.
It is.
We live in a world where scumminess is what is the way to grow, and I hopefully one day the consumer realizes, let's stop making stupid people famous and reward people for their hard work.
Exactly. I'm right there with you, man. Because people who bust their ass every day, 24/7. Doing what they love, working their job. They should basically, it's like, be recognized for what they do, and not someone who don't do anything shouldn't be recognized at all, because
like
they don't.
Facebook is now, after only a couple months, getting rid of podcasts on their platform.
They are.
Yep, they're going to get rid of podcasts, and they're going to start limiting who can actually upload videos and content on their pages too.
No way.
Yep, and then Twitter's going to get to a point where you have to pay to be verified.
Elon Musk.
Yep, he's got to make that money back somehow. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough, man. That's why when I always tell like people, like if you're like your listeners, if you support this show, a share, word of mouth is definitely going to grow more than anything else, because we're stuck as content creators who are not famous, or who can't afford to pay to get a big name on our show, or have the exposure to tell somebody with a big name to be like, hey, I have 300,000 YouTube subscribers, come on my channel, because that's really the only way people are going to take you seriously. Here's a great example. Once again, this is not trash talking. This is not saying that I think I'm better or I'm bitter that he has what he has, because I respect him tremendously. I think he's very good at what he does. He's been on our show. But Chris Van Fleet, I was at a wrestling show with Chris, and I was working a meet and greet with the talent. And just like in small conversation, it usually comes up like, hey, do you work this promotion? And I say, no, like, I'm not ownership or anything here. I'm just a guy who runs a podcast that they liked enough to come in and do commentary. And I feel like I want to help out more. So I help them with meet and greets, and I sit with somebody and make sure that fans don't ask for too much or all that fun things, like the handler type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually hear that, and 9 times out of 10 they go, all right, cool. Like, oh, cool, another podcaster. You know what I mean? Because everybody in the world has a podcast. But then Chris Van Fleet was there, and we're both podcasters, except I'm working my local promotion, handling a wrestler, and he is someone who's down the line signing autographs. And great. I'm very, very happy and proud for him. But it's just like, well, if the promoter and everyone there who I'm promoting via my podcast would be like, this is our guy, and put the momentum and the machine behind our stuff, I can be at the same level as that. Not saying they have to. I'm just saying that's how that's how easy it really can be. But the same person I was doing handling with, I just said I did a podcast and he didn't care. But then when Chris went up and said, hey, I'd love you on my show, I have 300,000 YouTube subscribers, the guy was on the show 2 weeks later, and it's like I said, it's not easy. So when you share or you tell people to like or subscribe, even if you don't have, and I'm not saying he doesn't, but when you have more followers and more interaction and likes, it is a lot easier for you to get the guests you want, because you have that leverage to be like, I have an audience, So, and I think a lot of people miss that point when they support small art.
Mm-hmm. They
bands.
do.
If a band wants to get booked at a show, if they're a band who has 13 followers on Facebook, a promoter's gonna be like, yeah, you can't sell me a ticket. You know what I mean? So as a content creator too, you have to grow those numbers,
Yeah.
But it does help for the listeners to do the word of mouth and share and tell people that why they like the stuff they listen to.
Mm-hmm. It does. Like, Chris, he followed me on Twitter not too long ago, just out of the blue. Bam, he's a great
guy.
And from what I've seen from interviews and everything that he does and who he talks to, Robin Nelson met him a few weeks ago at a convention up in I think it was Indianapolis there at the one of the cons there, and he got to talk to him briefly, and he asked Robin, I love when he throws out these questions, because it's like something that he asked that no one else really does. He's one of those guys. He pulls something from left field. You're like, whoa, I didn't expect that. He basically asked Chris, if I can remember from the brief interview, he asked Chris, is like, what do you do on your time when you're not away, when you're not doing any of this stuff? And
working out.
Working out. Actually,
he likes craft beer too.
Chris actually said he likes the strangest thing. He said people's going to think he's crazy for this though, but he loves cast fishing.
Oh yeah, he has his own company. It's called Woo something. Yeah,
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that, and I was
a big movie buff too. He loves movies.
You see, I didn't know any of this stuff, and I'm like, this is.
He actually trained to be an independent wrestler at one time as well.
I kind of figured he did maybe at one point, or was in the wrestling business. I didn't know that. He
was a backyard wrestler.
Oh,
in the old great state country of Canada.
Oh, eh.
If you guys want to hear a Chris Van Fleet interview, head over to Tornado Talk Podcast.
Hey, if you did ask him, I've seen him on a podcast that that don't have that many numbers, and they reached out to him, and he got on the show there. And at the beginning of it, the host was like, "Oh man, I can't believe I asked you to do this and you're on here." And he said, from one podcaster to another. I was like, okay, he respects podcasting. So
absolutely, he's a good dude.
Yeah,
he's a really good guy. I told him the first time I met him, I said, "Hey man, keep a chair warm for me at the top. I'm coming." And he started laughing. And then he checked out our content, and he was like, "Yeah, you guys are doing well. Like, you guys have a nice little setup. Your equipment's nice. Your mics sound nice." I was like, "I appreciate that, man." He's a good dude. I 10 out of 10 recommend listen to his podcast, and also if you see him out there, go talk to him. He's a really good guy. I watched him. If you go listen to his podcast or watch it, I was actually there, like literally probably within 2 arms lengths away when he was interviewing Maven.
Nice.
Like I watched that interview before it hit the internet.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like I saw it live. It's like you all have to watch it. I saw it live.
And it was very funny because I was watching it and I was looking at it, like the whole time he's recording, I was looking at his equipment and I was like, that's a very bare minimum equipment, and I own every piece that he's using.
Right.
And I thought to myself, like, I'm there. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, obviously he has a way better editor and all that other stuff, or maybe he does it himself. I don't know. I don't want to judge. But yeah, I'm like, when it comes to equipment wise, I a lot of the equipment I use is exactly what he does.
No, nice. You showed me some of the equipment that you have there, which I love because I'm going to need to get a new mixer. I was talking to my wife. I said, man, this M-Box, I've had it since 2014 and it's been great though, but I just did last week. I recorded my 250th episode.
Congratulations.
Thanks. And that 250 episode is going to be different from anything else, from anything I've done before, because I had a appearance, a returning guest or former co-host come back who hasn't been on since episode 100, and a guest who hasn't been on the podcast in 6 years. He was on like episode, I think 14 back in the day. So yeah. He came back here on the 250. All of a sudden, it just showed up on my doorstep. Giving a little preview here. Just, they both showed up. I was suspecting someone else, and then I got this person. And I'm like, but this is what the podcast is going to be tonight. How is he going to fit into this? And I had to sit there and think for a minute. It's like, how am I going to do this, man? On the fly. I was like, I got it. This is what we're planned. You can chime in on it. Do you know anything about this? Yes. Perfect. Okay. Have a seat, have a drink. Let's do this. So we sat right here and we recorded it. But my other mic, for some damn reason, and it's like I have to keep pushing the guest I had on. It's like I had to keep moving the mic. I had to do like the Joe Rogan reference. It's like keep it a fist to the face, so he can hear. And
I always say the hang 10.
Yeah, hang 10. That's a good one.
I hate when I watch podcasts and they're talking. They're literally swallowing. And they're fucking breathing. I'm like, fucking, you can't hear that in your ears? Like, you can't hear your fucking chin gargle? Like, come on, man, back up.
Yeah. And then of course you got the ones that are way back here, and how this sounds like.
Well, that's the funny thing. Like now with like this microphone I have, I'm on it, right? But if I go over here, obviously in my head I can't hear that. So like, and then someone's like, why does it sound like that? I'm like, because your face is in front of a microphone. Yeah. It's crazy how that mic does that. And of course I got to pull out this mic, which I found for like at a used like thrift store for Here we go. Oh my goodness. What's the brand on that?
This is a
it looks like it's 2 ounces. Like it looks like it's so light.
It's a mini me mic. Actually, look at the name.
Radio Shack. Oh my god, I can only imagine what that sounds like.
Oh man. Yeah, this is I had to modify the hook up here.
Oh my god, it's 3 millimeter. Oh man.
That was what the third person was using. And I'll tell you, when we're doing mic checks, it sounded great. But the recording, oh man, I had to go in there. I had to turn up I had to amplify some stuff, man. I had to amplify some.
Yeah, there's no preamps in that mic.
Oh god, no. No, it's just like this other one here. This one's this other mic I got right here is a Radio Shack. I can't get it loose, but it's a Radio Shack one too, man. It has an on-off switch. And I left my other good mics. I have 2 other good mics and mic stands. I left them over at Chris Carnage's house. He has them still because I was running around here. I'm like, oh, fuck. Where the hell's my shit at? And I'm looking, and I thought, and I was like, think back. I'm like, damn it. They're at his house. Son of a bitch. I'm like,
Yeah,
he lives too
I have
far.
mental breakdowns when I don't have my stuff.
Yeah.
I literally I had a podcast at my buddy's place on Monday, and I literally pack up every single except what you see on the, like, if you're watching the podcast, everything you see on the table stays on the table. That never leaves. The mixing board, the mics. I have a to-go setup. And my to-go setup I could do either with microphones or I could do it with wireless mics. And I bring everything just in case something fails. Because if something fails, I will have a nervous breakdown. I can't handle that.
That's the worst. That's the worst thing there. What is the worst thing that's ever technically that went wrong when you were doing a podcast? Like,
oh, man.
Before,
I think
during?
every podcaster has done this, because I think most people, when they start podcasting, they podcast with a mixer or something where it goes from a mixing board. If your mixing board doesn't record natively, 9 times out of 10 people buy a mixing board, their first one, and then it runs USB into your computer, and then you open up Audacity or GarageBand and you record. So for me, it was Audacity. And if you don't check your source on your Audacity program, you could record an entire episode from your laptop speaker or your microphone. So, and I've known tons of podcasters who've done it where you record a whole episode and you go back and you're like, why does it sound like shit? And you're like, oh, because we never changed the source because we were rushing.
Hey, that's right. I noticed that right there on the source thing. Yeah, Audacity. I used to use that back in the day, but I would make sure and check just to make sure that I have the source, because when I'm going through a program, I'm looking at it and I'm like, check, this is checked. Okay, this is good. But you haven't had
another big one I had too is early on. If you go back and listen to early interviews with Everyday People, so I went out and bought microphones with my first set of money, and I bought cardio mics. And a cardio mic, in a nutshell, because I'm not an expert, is essentially a mic that just sucks up all the room noise. So it's designed to take in a large like a microphone, a dynamic mic has a small cone that you have to be on. So if you're on the mic like this, it works. If you go over here, you can't hear it. So a cardio mic, I can be anywhere on it and it'll pick me up. They're great mics, but if you have a sound controlled room and everything like that. So we used to just take one mic and stick it in the middle of the table and just all talk into it. And it was awful. It was awful. It was because you had to constantly like adjust, because if one person talked quiet, you're like, yo, talk up louder, it's not picking you up. And then they're uncomfortably talking loud. It was just not ideal. But then we used to also take the mixing board and we would run the outlines into a camera. So the audio went to the camera, so you didn't have to do it later. And I didn't know for the first 4 episodes of Interviews with Everyday People that you have to adjust the microphone gain on your camera, because what your audio is putting out and what the microphone's already on the camera is designed for, you can be overmodulated. So I did an interview with my dad early on that just audio wise is god awful. But I left it up too, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave this up because I think it shows growth, and I think it shows my growth as a podcaster, and it bothered me to have it up there. But I think once you get past the audio stuff, it's a great conversation. But yeah, that was another hiccup for me. It's all learning, man. Like all of this stuff, I've never been an audio guy, never been a video guy, never edited before in my life, and I'm just self-taught and still learning. You know,
that just like me when I started doing audio, I was using Audacity, and I went through a little bit of that right there. I was trying to find the great program. And it took me a long time, a lot of searching. I would just spend hours on the computer, just searching. And I finally found the program. And I've been using this since 2016, and it's worked great. It's definitely worked great. I still use Audacity to go through and edit and amplify and use that right there. And what I like about Audacity is they added a couple of plugins. They added a plugin where you can drop in videos. And because before, without the plugin, you can't do that. You can't just take a video and drop it in there and turn it to an audio file, which I would do with live streams. I would take my live streams, take it, drop it into Audacity, and go through and edit that. And it's one of those programs I've been using since 2005. That's how long I've been using that damn program. But you mentioned about wrestling on the weekends. Did you catch any wrestling this weekend?
Yeah, I was at Outbreak Wrestling in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. That venue is the legendary Hamburg Fieldhouse. That used to be the old Vince Senior spot back in the territory days. When you go in that building, the ring lights that are above that are still hanging there are of Vince Senior's ring lights. They're still there. The chairs in that building are the original chairs. If you watch an old promo on YouTube of Dusty Rhodes cutting a promo, how the house is going to be jumping, baby, like that was filmed in that arena.
Nice.
More history. We did a whole history episode on it. When Piper hit Snuka with the coconut was in that building. A lot of history in that building, and that's where the show was. I got fortunate enough to do commentary there a few times. So that's where I was. I'm having a brain fart real quick. I'll pull it up real quick so I give the proper plugs where plugs are due. There was a seminar. The show was good. I had a really good time. Outbreak Wrestling is a great time. They are on YouTube if you ever want to go check them out. But it's Outbreak Wrestling on YouTube. They do a con every year called the Legends of Hamburg. Field like the Legends of Hamburg, and they bring all these old legends in. Last year was crazy. I met a lot of really cool people. That's actually where I met Chris Van Fleet the first time.
Nice.
Yeah. It's an awesome venue. I had a really good time. The show before that for that company was at the Monster Factory in New Jersey, where like Adam Cole and Preston Vance, as you know him as 10 on I don't know what that beep was. Sorry. It came out of there. So it's really fun. The seminar, I know it's here. Where you at? Come on, internet. The seminar was Allison Danger. She did a seminar, and she beat the garbage out of everybody. It was pretty fun to watch. And then the other seminar, I should know this, I'm going to be honest, but I'm having a brain fart. Commentator he did New Japan commentating and all that stuff. Sorry, Kevin Kelly. Yeah. So I was doing commentary with Kevin Kelly right over my shoulder, which is
nice.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Oh, it was terrifying for you.
Oh my God, the guy's a legend. And then I apologize, I didn't remember his name because I have so much going on. And then Kerry Sulkin showed up to hang out for a little bit, so I got to see Kerry again, so that was fun. But it was a great show. That's what I did this weekend.
Nice. I watched Black Label Pro. I love Black Label Pro. I love the shows they come out and do. And here recently, last month, Billy Stark, I guess for that promotion, went heel. Yeah, she went heel. She wrestled against, who the hell did she wrestle against? Last month she wrestled He managed the Road Warriors. Ellering. Paul Ellering's daughter, Rachel. She's super nice. I met her a few times. She wrestled her, and she pulled an injury angle, and she did a dirty pin to win. You're like, Billy, what's going on? And she got on a mic. She got a heel promo, said she's tired of being nice, and she's doing things her way, and she got booed. I was like, wow, Billy's went heel. And then this past Saturday, Black Label Pro, she wrestled Dan the Dad. I'm starting to like Dan the Dad because he gets a good pop, man, and he's pretty good. I don't know if you've seen him before, but Billy wrestled Dan the Dad, and Billy pulled a page out of Ric Flair's book to win that one. She got a bad response, and it just I like seeing this. My 5-year-old loves Billy, but she got all upset, and she ran to me and she said, "Why is Billy doing this?" I said, "Billy's bad right now." I said, "Billy's going through some changes right now, but hopefully she'll be good again. She's being bad." And she's like, "Billy did this, Billy did that." I said, "Don't you do that." Don't you do what she did. I said, "It's not nice." I said, "Billy's going through some changes." And she's like, "I want Billy to be good." My 5-year-old just getting all mad. And she's sitting there watching, this match here. And she says to me, she said, "I like Billy. Billy's pretty." I was like, cool. I was like, I like send that. I wish I had that on video, just send to Billy. I'd be like, "Look, you got a fan. My 5-year-old loves you." but you're bad, so she don't like that.
Yeah.
But what's that?
Check your phone.
Check my phone.
Yeah. So that was the promotion I was at. I'll be at in a couple weeks. I'll be at PPW. That'll be another one that'd be really cool. They just announced the card for that one. I can kind of run through. Actually, the show I just did will be on Fight TV very soon. That one had Alpha Jr. versus Jay Lethal. It had Lance Archer versus Mike Orlando, which wrestled. They went all around the building. Axel Andretti. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart, everybody. Dante Martin and Griffin McCoy and Jordan Oliver from GCW. We're all in a four-way match where it was just high flying all over the place. But that'll be on Fight TV very soon. But people that will be at that next show will be Chris Bay, Rich Swann, Cole Cabana, a Big Damo, which is AKA Killian Dane, Sean Multa, the Mecca Brian Johnson, Gia Scott, and Josh Woods and Tasha Steele will all be there. So a lot of ROH people as well as some big names. But yeah, that's what we'll be doing commentary next. So if you're local or if you're listening to this or you want to check it out on Fight TV, just search PPW Entertainment.
I'm gonna have to, man. I want to hear you in commentary. That I do want to hear you on commentary. So I'm gonna. I
just on my. So if people are listening to this, and this is not a knock or anything, but I do starting to limit who I let on my personal Facebook page because I'm getting close to that 5,000 limit, and I plan on having more people in my life. But if I don't really know you, I don't accept it. But I do have a like page that you can go follow, Anthony Blackwell Jr. But I just did commentary with a friend called Pete DeLong, and he has a YouTube channel, and we did a match, and he kind of does like a intro. He does a really great job. Check his YouTube page out, but he does he gives you the whole rundown on the two wrestlers and then the match before the match. And the match that he premiered was a match that we did commentary on. So if you want to check it out completely free on YouTube and help out a friend, you can go on my Facebook page, Anthony Blackwell Jr. And I have it linked up there. It's the Pete DeLong. I forget exactly what it's called. I apologize. I'm a bad friend right now. But yeah, it's on there. And Pete is honestly one of my favorite commentary partners to work with. And the guy has been a complete stud. And I've been working with him now for a while at this promotion and close to me called the Sanctuary, where it's an old church. They convert it into a wrestling venue, and the champion there is currently Ace Austin. So it's a cool promo and cool building, and a lot of really big names come in there. Like HC Loc is there a lot, Jamie Sinegal, some names that actually came out of there. In the
PJ
past,
Savage.
Yeah. Sonny Kiss came out of there. MJF was there at one point in time. Britt Baker won a women's tournament there way back in the day. So it's a promotion that it's a great way to go learn and hone your craft. And they've been really crucial for me in getting my ribs in at commentary. And Pete has been my right-hand man there.
Nice. I love it because I think it's cool, Anthony, that you got your own network. You got all these great, amazing shows. You're also working in wrestling, doing commentary, which I did at one point in my life. I did commentary. I still every once in a while get the itch. I just wish I could just go back and do it though. But
pull the trigger, man. You never know. Life's too short.
I just need to find a promotion, but it's just I get the itch, and I just love that. I enjoy everything that you're doing and what's going on and stuff, but at the beginning of the program, you did mention about Star Wars, and you mentioned about horror podcast. You mentioned a few weeks ago on, I forget which show it was. Was it Not Cool in High School? You mentioned all
they all
these...
blend together. Yeah, they give you a little more.
You mentioned about all these new shows coming out because you mentioned about doing
Not Cool in High School. So Not Cool in High School is going to have 3 spin-off shows. 2 of them will involve me. 1 of them will not, which is fine. I love that. Please still go support it. But the one that won't have me in it will be the Not Cool in High School Disney. And that'll be Nikolai and his brother Anthony will be doing Disney in chronological order. So they're going to start for the very first Disney movie and go all the way through. Now, when we say Disney, we're going to say Disney Pixar. They're going to stay away from Star Wars. They're going to stay out of our territory. That's gang warfare. And then and then when like a new movie comes out, they're going to sneak it in there. So they're not going to wait for the new movie until the very end. They're like, if it's brand new and it's topical, they're going to put it in. But they're going to be doing Not Cool in High School Disney. There's really no set days on those when they're going to drop. It'll just be like bonus content. Then we have Not Cool in High School Horror. I think we're going to be filming that sometime maybe this weekend. I'm not sure yet. They're going to be kind of like pop-up shows. They'll just kind of appear. That's me and my wife. And then we're going to be doing Not Cool in High School Star Wars, where me and Andy from Bang and Beers podcast are going to go through with some guests and talk about Star Wars trilogies or the Star Wars franchise.
Yes. Nice. I'm looking forward to these shows, man, because I was tuning in live when you announced them, and I was like, oh my God, this is so great. Anthony has just raised the bar on what he does with these shows, and I love how they're just going to pop out there. All of a sudden, you're on social media, and bam, there it is. It's like, check it out. You have to check it out. And I'm going to throw this out there. You ever talk about Clerks? You ever do a review, talk about Clerks? I want to be on that, man. I watched it back in the day, 1994. So I want to throw that out there. So hit me up if you
your flag. You got the spot. The best way I can tell people is we always love to have guests on. It won't be every single time, so I won't say like anyone who asks is going to get on, but we are very open to having guests on. It does help to have a setup like Everett does, so you at least sound good. But if you follow our social medias and we promote like, hey, this week we're talking, for example, we just had The Wizard of Oz. If you're really passionate about that movie and you know a lot of fun facts about it, by all means, the guest spot is yours. Or like I said, we have that live chat element. So if you follow any of the podcasts, you can tune in live and chat, and we will pop your comments in the chat, and we will interact as if you're part of the show. So we encourage people all the time to come check it out. Like I said, interviews with everyday people usually is every Monday. We flip back and forth between Not Cool in High School on Tuesdays with Truth Behind Illusion, which is like our paranormal conspiracy cryptid. So we talk about we just did Love, Sex, Magic. So that's interesting. And then we also will next in 2 weeks be talking about the Jersey Devil. We're going to talk the history of the Jersey Devil. Wednesdays we're usually off, or I'm doing amazing things where I'm joining the Everett Lee show. Sorry. I have a friend named Lee Everett, and I can't my brain cannot flip it back. My dyslexia kicks in.
It's good, man.
Thursday is our tornado tag. That's usually every night at 8:00. And then Sundays is Bang and Beers. So anything on the IWEP Network that I run, that's it. We do have other great shows. Stay Doomed, Pullbox Pals, which Stay Doomed watches old TV shows that only lasted a couple seasons, and they review it so you don't have to, and they tell you what happened, and they figure out if it should have stayed dead or not, or stay doomed. Pullbox Pals is another one where my buddy Tim and his co-host will review their comic book pulls. They go to a comic book store, they get their pulls, they read it, and they talk about it and see if you'd be interested in reading those comics as well. And then Welcome Back, which is one of my favorite podcasts, a buddy podcast with two friends, and they don't get to see each other very often because they live so far apart, but they use the podcast as a way to stay connected and talk to each other as friends and have really fun conversations. So that's everything on the network. And if you check it out, IWEPnetwork.com, I would really appreciate it. We do have merchandise and all that fun stuff. But before you go buy anything, just listen to the show. Reviews, let us know. Feedback's always there, and you can always tune in live and check us out.
Nice. Thank you so much, Anthony. I appreciate this. And
dude, thank you for having me. Like I said, real respect's real, and I know the work and effort and time and money it goes into doing this, and you've been doing it even longer than I have, and I respect your craft, man. And the door's always open on my end. And like Versa, if you ever need me to talk about something on your show, I'm always down, man.
I appreciate it, man. I can think of a lot of things that I do want to talk about and stuff, because listening to you talking about different, topics and stuff has kind of inspired me to like, you know what, I should do an episode just talking about that, because I think it'd be great. But
I think you have a platform where you have a nice thing because it's your name. You know what I mean? You're not pigeonholed into wrestling. You're not pigeonholed. You can talk whatever you want to talk, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I'm really realizing.
Kind of wish I did that. I'm not gonna lie, but but I have so many other co-hosts and other things that it's nice for them to have their own representation. They're not all grouped together, so that's kind of why I did it. Yeah. Because this way, if one person's show blows up, they're like, well, it's when I'm on, it's good. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that'll ever happen, but it's nice to have your own, like, one show is not colliding with the other where they have to fight for time. And if we have separate shows, they can all have their own stake and take ownership.
Exactly. Thank you so much for coming on here on episode 249, which I want to mention right here that next week will be episode 250 of the Everett Lee Show. And like I was talking about earlier with Anthony here, that I've done something that I've not done before that everyone should check out when that podcast comes out, because 250, it's going to be great because it's something that needs to be discussed that has not been discussed. And it's going to be a great episode. And honestly, tonight, this has been a great episode right here with my guest, Anthony Blackwell Jr. of the IWEP Network. And you can check out more great podcasts on podcastcity.net. Head over to Facebook, Podcast City Network, Twitter at Podcast City Net, and Everett Lee. You can follow me on Facebook, Everett Lee Show, Twitter at the Everett _Lee, Instagram, Everett Lee, YouTube, Everett Lee. And portions of this audio podcast can be found on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, Amazon Music, and right here on Podbeam.
You see the new thing that app iHeart is doing? Where, like, if someone listens on iHeart, they can send you an audio message, and then the podcast actually listens to it. It's almost like if you were live, but you're not live, where your audience can hit a microphone. So if they're listening and then we say, like, Clerks, and they're like, no, it was 96, they can hit a button and then you'll get an alert of what they said when they said it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just did a commercial. But listen, I'm going to cut out. Thank you so much. I'll let you close your show up here. I love you, man. Seriously, keep grinding, keep pushing, and keep doing what you're doing.
All right. I appreciate it. Have a good night, man. All right. I'll see you. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Anthony Blackwell Jr. and I'm Everett Lee signing off. Everyone have a great night. We'll see you again next week for the 250th episode of the Everett Lee Show. Peace.